Hey guys, so today we are here with one of my very favorite people in the world, Allie Craig. She is a best-selling author. She is a marketing guru. She knows neuroscience. She knows it all. She's got it all on lock. And she just wrote an amazing book, Success Rebel. Yay! You guys have to go get it. It is amazing. But today we are talking with Allie on how to use style to stand out in what's going on. So post COVID-19 and really just, anytime some sort of epidemic, pandemic, crisis, whatever, things happen. And, there's still a way to go about life and go about business. And today we're going to talk with Allie about that. So Allie, I would love if you would say hi, a little bit about yourself, and let's dive in.
Of course. Thank you so much for doing this. I love talking about, the human mind, because we are so similar and people tend to forget that. And so that's what Success Rebel really talks all about. And that's what we're talking about today, especially when it comes to how to show up, especially online and in today's new business age, post-COVID, dealing with the remnants of COVID-19 and all that fun stuff. And so for the last 22 years, I've actually done luxury neurohuman branding for clients around the world. My clients are international bestsellers. They're Wall Street execs. They're mom and pops on Main Street and everything else in between. And then I also have a specialty in intelligent influence with impression management, which is about how to actually show up and how to actually create these positive relationships with your audience, with the people that you love, so that you can actually have an influential relationship. Because though influence is such a buzzy word, the truth is it's just part of human nature, is that when we have a relationship with someone, we naturally influence them. But in today's age, especially with everything that's kind of gone down with everyone getting online and switching and changing their businesses from real world situations to online situations, there's a lot of noise out there and people are finding a real struggle to stand out. And you can actually use your style too, and there's proven science behind it. And more importantly, psychological triggers that we all have, that we all can use to our advantage to create these better relationships.
Oh my gosh, I'm so fascinated already. I can't wait to dive into this. And as some people know, some don't, I was on track before I went into fashion to be a doctor. So I'm a huge freaking science nerd. So when you're talking science and research and bringing it into style, my little head and heart get so happy. So I can't wait to dive more into this. And really, this is a powerful thing to understand if you are working with style, working with clients, if you are a stylist, if you just want to look good yourself. This is so important to understand what Allie's going to teach, because it shows you that style is not just something superficial. There's actual science behind this. There's actual, chemistry going on about this. So Allie, I would love to hear more about that.
See, that's why I love you so much, Kate, because you and I kind of get to geek out on the science side and the pretty side of life, basically.
Totally.
And you're right. Style is, everyone likes to treat style as this vanity piece because we have so many social stories towards it, but it's so not. There's so much biology to it, and we can actually use it to our advantage. But we just have to, for 1 second, pause and realize that no matter who you're talking to, no matter who you're trying to sell, no matter who you're trying to close or have any type of relationship with, personally or professionally, they're a human being. And I know that sounds really, really simple, but our media currently likes to make us feel very different, like we're very, far apart. And the truth is, we are human beings, and that has such a commonality to it. There's commonality in our biological. So on what will move us, what will trigger us, there's commonality there. There's a commonality on how our subconscious minds work, because we are not logical beings. And then there's a commonality on the social stories at hand. And what COVID did and showed us really was social stories really controlled people more than they realized, and more than they realized definitely prior to all of this, because we all had our social stories of what business was, what being successful as fill in the blank of whatever you do. How did that look? How did that feel? How did you hold yourself? Where did you go to? And all of that began to change when everyone was quarantined, everyone had to work from home, and everyone turned to virtual, everyone turned online. And we kind of lost our minds along the way, honestly. At least a lot of people did.
Yeah.
Credit, because they stopped being what their social story was. So if to somebody, their social story of a business success was getting dressed up and wearing the suit and going to the office, and then they no longer could. Their social story got interrupted by what was happening because you can no longer go to the office. And so instead of keeping with certain elements like still getting dressed, they followed what seemed to be happening in the mass media, which is everyone's just wearing their PJs and the big joke about no one wearing pants on Zoom meetings, all the rest of that kind of stuff. And what that ends up doing is it ends up destroying your subconscious mindset of what it is that you're doing when it comes to work, and how you show up and how you articulate and your nonverbal communication. And all of that tends to go down this like slippery slope of a rabbit hole, basically. And then we started seeing memes that said, okay, is it procrastination or is it self-care? And the truth of why that's coming up is because your subconscious mind didn't know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
If you said that you needed to do work, you said this was a business call, but you were dressed the same way that you fed your kids lunch, or that you just got off of a FaceTime with your best friend. And so there was no mindset or environmental shift or any kind of visual stimuli to actually tell your brain, this is business time. I need to act like business. I need to speak like business. And I need to think like business. And that's where style comes so greatly in, because we love to think we're very logical and intelligent. We're not. Human beings are very animalistic. And so our brains haven't evolved in 20,000 years, and they're not going to evolve in our lifetime. And so using our brains and our just kind of animal side to ourselves a little bit more intentional is actually really helpful for multiple things. Number one, it will help you show up in a more concise method. So that way your message is clear, your tone of voice is clear, the purpose of the call, the purpose of the video, or what you're trying to get out of it is super clear for your brain, because it knows this is what we're doing right now. And style's a great way to do that, because we all have in our mind's eye, consciously or not, what success aesthetically looks to us. We, like, know me and my heels. And so fabulous high heels is what success looks like to me. I don't care if it's jeans on, a dress on, or nothing on, but the heels to me success. And everyone has that one item or that one look, that one feel, or maybe blazers are it, or a necklace is it, or a certain stylish shoe is it. When you know that for yourself, and when you can define that for your client, what they're able to do is they're actually then able to have their subconscious mind cue in and say, this is time to do work. This is time to do the following task. And the Victorian era totally had it right when it came to the style, because there was clothes for everything. In the Victorian era, you had your morning clothes for your morning chores, and then you had your going out clothes, and then you had your church clothes, and then you had your afternoon chore clothes, and you had your night clothes. And what that allowed was that the brain understood, if I'm wearing X, this is what I do. So that way you're more efficient with your actual time. You're more efficient thinking. You're able to create more because your brain knew exactly what to put its energy into. Whereas what we saw with COVID is people wore the same thing to bed as they pretty much did to the Zoom meeting, and maybe pulled their hair back if you were lucky. And so it was like, am I sleeping? Am I selling? Am I going to go make my kid a sandwich? I don't know what the hell I'm doing right now. And when that happens, we do feel confused, we do feel overwhelmed, and we feel lost. And when you're dealing with the fear and all of that was coming through the media, that was, what's going to happen, the big what ifs when it comes to health and your family and the economy and everything else, any more stress, what ends up happening when our brain's in fight or flight? We go stupid. We can't think through things. We can't strategize. We can't see long term. We can only see what's in the moment right in front of us. And so when we're like that, we of course can't move on. Which if you're an entrepreneur, it gets really, really frustrating, because you're like, I just want to keep going. And when you're trying to sell to somebody, if you don't have that solution or that forethought of what the next step is for yourself, you can't sell it to them either. And that's what people are looking for now. People are looking for, what is that next step? And what you can do, understanding the social stories that trigger you for what business is. You can easily change your style, show up wearing the clothes that make you feel successful. But then for your audience, you can actually offer to kind of deep dive into their social story subconscious of what are their little nuances, and really help them understand, is it the color red, or is it red lipstick? Or is it you like to wear a silk blouse because that was what, professional women wore? Or is it the idea of the jacket, that you love a structure and that's what makes it? And when you can help them understand that, then number one, show your skills instantly. Number two, your audience and your clients are going to feel more powerful when they get onto their Zoom meetings, or they go back to the office, or any of that. And so they're going to be able to articulate more and close better. And so you're going to be able to give them a confidence that they haven't been able to have since this COVID breakout. And so that way you're going to become this very indispensable person, so much more than just someone who makes them look good. You're going to be that grounding force to them. And how wonderful is that? Because if you can be that grounding force that, you know what, I don't know why, but I'm just going to talk to Kate. And because when I talk to Kate, I feel like I get clarity what my next step is, because she has clarity about her next step. Mm-hmm. That's really right now in this craziness of modern business, of what's happening, using the social stories of what our perception of successful business is supposed to be, and tweaking it for where we're all logistically at right now, is a great way to use our social stories, our biology, to our success, but also to support our clients as well.
So what I hear you saying is there's a lot of people that are at home that, went to the office, had, jobs where they were not staying at home all day, and now they're home. And so there's confusion for them. They're still wearing the clothes that they slept in. They're still wearing, things that they would not have ever worn to the office, like not even dreamed of it. And at first it seemed okay because we were at home and it was like, oh, this is just like a extended vacation, staycation. But now it's actually created more fear, anxiety, and confusion because they're not actually doing that physical, putting those things on. So their brain chemistry isn't shifting, and it's not saying this is work time. So it's almost very detrimental for them to not do that. It sounds like they need to actually get dressed to continue towards their version of success.
Well, because we all have stories that are tied to what success looks like and feel like. And most likely your current environment doesn't reflect that, especially if you're used to not working from home. You most likely don't have a true dedicated office that reflects that. So your interior design isn't reflecting that. And even if you do, your children could have invaded your space, your spouse could have invaded your space. And then so now it's not really your space anymore. And so the one thing that we all can control is our style. So by understanding what those elements really mean to you and what that looks like. I mean, if that's like wearing great jewelry, then wear great jewelry with those yoga pants and that t-shirt then, girl. Whatever it is, because then you're going to show up differently. And more importantly, the issue that a lot of people are having now that we are months into quarantine, and God forbid, over in Europe where they're really months into quarantine, is that, human nature is we are shocked in the beginning when things are new, but then we get desensitized to it. And so a lot of people are beginning to get desensitized to Zoom videos and meetings like this. And so we follow what we see. That's human nature, is that we just mirror people. Well, what is it showing you online? What is it showing you on the media? Is these people are at home and you see the cat walk behind, and and it's funny on some level, yes, but does that say professional success for you? Does that reflect the caliber of who you are as an expert? And for many of us, that's not true. But because we see everyone else doing it, we feel like that's what we're supposed to do as well. And if I want to do anything else, well, then that's just kind of being foolish or kind of crazy, because who's going to see it? I saw a picture where it was this woman in this most beautiful ball gown dress, and it said, going out to the mailbox. And I was like, hell yes, going out to the mailbox.
Yeah.
Just for you. Even if you're just putting on makeup for yourself and your partner's like, why are you wasting your time doing that? You could just, put your hair in a ponytail and show up, or do a black screen, or do some weird behind the scene, green screen bullshit. And it's just, that's not how most likely you see success, because we don't have social stories to speak to that. we have social stories that speak to success when it comes to detail and a caliber and excellence, and they all reflect a personal style with that. If that's killer tennis shoes, if that's, suits, if that's jewelry, whatever that is for you, wearing that is a way for you in these crazy times to ground yourself and still use those social stories that we all have that are not coming out of our subconscious mind anytime soon to our advantage to still succeed and still move forward.
Okay, so then say that there's a stylist who is, wanting to work with clients and has to do it virtually now. Are you saying that the most powerful thing right now is to help these people that, the potential clients see that right now they are agreeing to this grand social story that it's okay to not look good, feel good, when really what they should be focused on is standing out and being true to themselves and true to what their version of success is? Is that what you think the stylist should speak to?
Completely. And you have to remember that it's not just wear what you used to wear, because what before that style was a piece to the overall story, and going to work was part of that story, and having meetings in person was part of that story, or travel was part of that story, or whatever. There was other elements to that puzzle basically. Now we've stripped away those elements and we only can use our personal style. So that may mean that we have to wear something that we didn't necessarily wear before. So like maybe someone didn't wear high heels to work. They, wore a sensible shoe because they had so much walking to do or something like that. But life has changed, business has changed. So now their sales position isn't about showing you what's on the showroom floor. It's about really converting and really holding that relationship space in this virtual world. So then you got to bring your A game. And so if your A game for you is wearing the ring that was your grandmother's, or was wearing the cute, sexy shoes that are, no one else is going to see, or whatever that is, you have to empower yourself in every single way to make that relationship and make that sales close. And you're going to do that by the actual clothing you're wearing.
This is so amazing because I know the science and the psychology behind style to a certain level, but obviously, psychology and neuroscience way, way deeper. So it's fascinating because I always say, and this is like my simplistic version is, if you slept in it, you have to get out of it because your brain shifts. Like you cannot wear what you wore to sleep. Like, I don't care if it's the same thing, but a different color, you got to change out of it. And that's my very simplistic form. But understanding that this is actually keeping you from success, and this is keeping you in a world of confusion because you're just agreeing to some social norm that's actually not okay. That's not supporting your version of success is fascinating. That's fascinating. And I'm wondering if we're talking to the stylists who want to talk to their clients, or even people that are interested from themselves, how quickly does that neuroscience and the chemistry and all of that, how quickly can that shift? Is it in an instant? Is it over time?
So the thing is that it's both. So we've all been in the dressing room where you try something on and you're like, this is horrible, I hate it. And then you put the next outfit on and heaven. It's like manna opens up, the skies open up, because all know that when you're in that outfit where you feel amazing in it, it just looks good on you. You show and tell everyone about it, right? And so same's going to hold true with how you show up when you put that piece on, that outfit. If it's a whole outfit, if it's one item, whatever it is, you're going to speak differently. You're going to hold yourself differently. You're going to show up to the videos or to your meetings in a completely different energy. And then right now, with the mass energy of the world being in fear, being in confusion, anyone who has any ounce of positivity, any ounce of clarity, people go, oh, I want to know what they have. I want to have what she has. And so when you do that, that's an easy way to have people then just simply listen to your message. And that's then one step closer for them to say yes to you. And then, of course, long term, because Lord only knows, the world isn't going back to where it was, but who knows when it's going to go back to closer to, where it was, where we can travel more freely and do events and all of that and kind of go out and do life and do business in the world. But when you add up to it, we get used to the environments we're around and we mirror the environments we're around. So if you're at your home and your kiddos doing their schoolwork and they're pitching a fit, or your partner's over there and they're, doing whatever, and everyone's kind of going a little less and a little less, because the enthusiasm going down, because now it's becoming commonplace. It's just human nature for that to happen to you. So unless you're doing something to counteract that, then, you know, you're going to get caught in there dragging you down, basically. It's not that they intend to, it's just human nature. So when your style is up every single day, that's where that idea of where you influence other people can really come into play. You can really be that influencer to all the people who are around you. You know, and that's what we talk a lot about in Success Rebel is, you know, Success Rebel, how to be successful and sought after without selling your soul. And it's 22 years of what I've worked with clients on in the mindset and the social stories in our subconscious mind. That's what gets us every time. That is the massive difference between you being influenced or you being influential. And far too often, Success Rebel is, you know, you're fighting the good fight, you're solo, you're the black sheep, you're the, you know, you're doing things against the grain. And sometimes it gets exhausting, and especially when you have all the added stress of, you know, pandemics and economies and God only knows what's going to happen next. And so when you can do anything, and if it's as simple as what you wear to boost your energy, just that one notch, it gives you that little step forward to keep going and to keep going so that you can actually succeed on your terms, your way. And when you get through this, you don't just have a more successful brand, you don't just have better relationships, but you have actually the life you really wanted in the end, not some version of what someone else thought you should have.
Or that like common, this co-creation that people are making of like, oh, everyone just chill at home in your yoga pants and like, don't worry about it and show up to Zoom calls if you want or not. You know, for us entrepreneurs that have been working at home this whole time, it's like, that's not, we know, like, I mean, when you first start your business, there is a little bit of that. I remember when I first started my business, there's a little bit of that wonkiness of like, oh God, I think I need to create a structure for myself or like a schedule or something. But once you've nailed it, it's like, no, that's not the way to do it. Like, don't stop putting on your PJs and throwing your hair in a bun. Like, it's not that it's not cute, but it's not helping you. It's not supporting you in any way.
It's allowing you to survive, but not thrive. And no one, especially now, needs to just be in survival mode. We need to be in thriving mode, because survival mode isn't going to get you to survive for long term. We have to figure out a new way to thrive for ourselves to do business, but we also need to be, and we're blessed to be as entrepreneurs, the ability to influence our clients to thrive for themselves and to see this as a positive and to see how they can, you know, just use their style to their advantage. Because then what does that do? That means that then when they dress their kiddos, they're going to not have their kiddos just stay in their PJs to do their schoolwork. They're like, no, let's do something nice. And that's going to help their kiddos. And that's going to, you know, and it just begins to have that down effect. And when you have that, that is how you actually have true influence for yourself. And more importantly, have that desirability and that want of the relationship from your consumer side, because they're going to want to be around you more because you helped influence them on a greater level than just themselves and just the, you know, style aspect, the seemingly aspect. They realize there's so much more and so much more depth to your work.
Wow, that's so freaking powerful. So I'm just curious, when you talk a little bit, you spoke on it earlier, the social stories. And I know that we've like have our stuff that we've known from birth, right? Or from like when we were very young. Is there mindset work, and can we do it with the book, that we can rework those social stories to where it's supporting us and we're not just joining this mob of thinking? Like, what do we do?
Yeah, the mass mentality. Yeah. I like to think of it as the Borg, and I wasn't very much into Star Trek. I have to like pause and ask if that's Star Trek or Star Wars, because that's not my husband for this one, but it's the Borg mindset, really. And so, which, you know, we have the social stories that have been brought to us before we were even born, that were told to us in utero, because that's what fairy tales are. But we also even have stories within our DNA and our actual cellular structure that we're bringing on from generations. So you have this massive, not you, not the pure you, because the truth is, by the time you get to adulthood, you're too influenced by other people for the most part, and very few of us really know 100% this is solely what I want and I'm going after it without having other people's influence. And so the entire book is actually designed to take action, because as you well know,
You
I'm
are
not about,
you are nothing if not an action taker.
I'm not about fluff, and I'm not about, as I like to say, masturbating on the ideas. I'm about let's take action. So here's the knowledge, and now let's take some action here, people. And so actually at the end of every single chapter, there are these questions. So like if you need to learn more, here's what you need to learn about the section.
Oh,
If
wow.
you need more, here's action steps you can take. If you need to believe more, so if you know this is in your head, like that logically when you look at it, there's no reason why you shouldn't, then that means that shit is only in your head and you got to get it out of your mind.
Wow.
Become more. So if you know, like, okay, I'm ready to step forward, but I don't know how to change my habits. Like, I don't know how to change, like, I always have just done it this way. And so that's the problem. Habits are great when they're still helping you, but along the way, habits tend to not help us and they tend to sabotage us more. So that's what becomes about. And then connect, because even though we're in this very virtual world, connect is so important. Human beings are designed for human touch. I mean, there's so many stories that talk about, and studies that talk about, children who don't get enough human touch before the age of 2, how they're psychologically just not as emotionally in tuned, and they have a hard time connecting, a hard time being empathetic and making relationships, because we need human touch for our minds, but we also need human touch for our bodies because of the electromagnetic fields that we give off. And we can do a lot of that virtually. And by showing up the right way for ourselves, we can change our own electromagnetic fields of our hearts. So that way it changes how it's perceived through the camera. Is it as good as in person? No, but it's better than nothing. Mm-hmm. And so we can actually then influence our clients. And we've all been around somebody who are like, I don't know what it is about that person, but I just love them. I just want to keep spending time with them. That's what you can do for your audience and for your clients when you show up, because you've empowered yourself by using your social stories to your advantage. And then you can totally rewrite the ones that aren't serving you at all. Because when you're aware of it, when you're able to take it from the subconscious, just habitualness, and you're saying, wait, this doesn't make sense anymore. And you can put it into that logical side of your brain just for a brief second. It only takes 10 minutes to actually rewrite a subconscious program, habit, or social story.
Wow.
Minutes for you to logically think on it, that you can actually create permanent change to it.
Wow. That's exciting. Like, that's very exciting. That's super, super freaking exciting. Okay, so I think everyone needs this book now.
I agree.
I think everyone needs this book. This is like wildly helpful. Like, you just dropped, I feel like, a PhD level of neuroscience on us in life. Is there anything else that you want to say to, want to make sure we know, and then let's talk about how to find the book, but anything else you want to make sure we definitely know?
Because here's just what we talked about. Theirs can be, you have a lifetime of programming, and sometimes things do take time. But when you use your biology and you use your mind to your advantage, and you stop just allowing other people, the media, other people around you, people you're happy to quarantine with, to influence you, and you take back that control, change can literally happen in an instant. Success can literally happen in an instant. It's not some bullshitty line that just sounds good. It's actually truth. And to know that we have the power to choose that, I think is so empowering, especially in today's age where we feel like we don't have an awful lot of power.
Yeah.
So the cool thing is you can, of course, get the book on Amazon. You can get the book at barnesandnoble.com. But if you want to support your local bookstore, all you have to do is call them and say you'd like to order a copy of Success Rebel, How to Be Successful and Sought After Without Selling Your Soul by Ali Craig. It came out April 2020, so it came out this month. And then they can actually order it for you and ship it to you. And then that way they get the profits of actually selling the book. So then that way you can help your local bookstore and you get a copy of the book delivered to your door.
I love that. I'm all about shopping small, obviously. Us as entrepreneurs, like, we want to support everyone. So definitely you guys make sure to do that. Like, don't just go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble if you can help it. Like, if you have a local bookstore.
The price is the same. The price is going to be the same either way, because it's set at $29.95 because it's a hardback. Because you know me, I'm all about the texture, the glossy cover, the linen inside, and there's whole neuroscience behind that as well. But the no matter if you get it from a local bookstore, you buy it from Amazon, the big box, why not help a small business out and, give them a little support in this time?
I agree. And like I said, I was talking to some of my students last week, and we were talking about how to kind of source fashion right now. And I said, you guys, Amazon's doing fine. Like, support the boutiques. Support the boutiques that have now had to take everything online, go to those places first and see if you can't find it there. So absolutely, you guys, this is fascinating. I cannot wait to dive into this book after all of this. Like, I feel like I just truly up-leveled my intelligence on so many levels. So thank you so much for that. This is fascinating. Make sure you guys call your local bookstore, request Allie's book, Success Rebel. Do not delay. This is like what you need. If you've been wondering at all, like, how do I take what I did in person or what I was doing before COVID and make it relevant now? Like, style seems so superficial. We've just heard why it's not superficial, why it can change someone's life and someone's day, including their family and including their business. So this is powerful stuff, and take action on this. Don't just listen to what Allie's saying and not take action. That's the worst thing you could do, because then it's dreams unrealized and clients not worked with. So absolutely take action. Is there anything else you want to do?
You don't have to worry about changing. So great, you're doing more online now and you don't love it. Eventually you want to go back to more in person. Build the relationships now, because the relationships you build now are going to be stronger relationships than any other time. And so if you're talking about clients who are paying you, or you're just talking about how you're showing up on social media for your current audience, these followers right now, every single memory they're building is actually supersized. And so this is the opportunity to show up intelligently for your business. Make sure you're showing up with strength and power and not coming from a place of fear yourself. So that way people can go, she's the leader I want to follow.
Wow. That's fascinating. I didn't know that either. I knew it was important to be consistent now and create that foundation, but I had no idea that it's supersized right now. That's amazing.
So so here's the science of it. So anytime you have a crisis, so we're in fight or flight, which we're all in right now. Anytime that you have sensory engagement, which we all have right now, because we're all being hypersensitive to, oh my God, did I touch my face? Oh my God, they sneezed. Well, do they have something? We're all hyper aware of those things. We actually have more blood flow going to the brain in that moment. So any memory we create is actually bigger. And we've all heard the phrase top of mind. It's not just a phrase, it's literally what happens. The bigger the memory is, the more top of mind the memory is. So that means the more times it's going to come up from the subconscious. It's not going to root in deep. People are going to be like, I just keep thinking about Kate for some reason, and I don't know why. So they're going to start looking at your page more, and they're going to see that video. And so now that all goes together, the more you're posting, the more you're supporting them, it's all creating a bigger and bigger and bigger memory. And then we have the whole COVID umbrella of this will be one of those ever pivotal points, just like 9/11 was a pivotal point for many of us. COVID's going to be this pivotal point in our lives, that all these memories are going to be bundled together. So people are going to literally be thinking of you because you're going to be top of mind. And then you're going to end up getting messages like, I don't know why I'm supposed to work with you, but I can't stop thinking about you. Can we connect and have a conversation? And that's what you want, because those are messages to have now. Those are also messages for when things get a little bit more back to normal, and you can create lifelong business relationships if it's clients, or who knows what other kind of partnerships could be birthed from this.
And which this is the perfect, example of why this is not the time to slow down in your business or say oh, what, people don't have money. What if they don't have this? First of all, stop making excuses for people you're not talking to. You can't control them and you can't take their choice away. But second of all, if you continue to go, you're creating these imprints, sounds like not blueprints, imprints in their brain of who you are and what you do and how, consistent you were and how you showed up and you continue to show up. That's freaking powerful, obviously, from everything you're saying.
Well, and so that's why making sure that you are using your own style to your advantage is so much more than just you look cute, but that your energy is there and you're not, I've seen so many people go on I'm so fearful, I'm so scared. I'm thinking, shut up, because it's an impression that they're going to now think you're fearful and scared. And no one's going to hire someone who's fearful and scared, because that's how they're already feeling. They need the opposite of that. And even when this crisis passed, no one wants someone who's a fearful and scared professional that says you're not willing to get the job done. I mean, that's not who we hire. We hire the people who are like, I don't like her style, she's ballsy, kind of thing. you know, you need to show up for yourself that way. And once you do it for yourself, you can do it for everyone else.
Allie, this has been amazing. Like, I want everyone to hear this training. Like, this is so freaking powerful. So good. You guys sorry if my internet messed up. It's just the tip of the iceberg compared to what's in the book. So like, you guys have to get the book, but I also want everyone to hear this training now. So I'm so freaking fired up. Thank you so much for doing this for us.
Of course.
Wonderful. Yeah, God, this has been a huge pleasure. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. You know, I love talking to your style babies.
I know, my style babies. They're the best. They are the best.
Love you guys. And thank you so much, Kate.
Of course. Thank you. This, like, truly, this is PhD level on why we got to keep going and do what we do. So thank you so much.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too.